You're 11 years old. You're standing at the corner of a road that goes nowhere useful, in a town that doesn't appear on any map that matters. Someone gives you a prepaid phone and tells you one thing. If a black convoy passes, you call this number. If the army passes, you call a different number. If you call the wrong one, or if you don't call at all, they won't be angry. They'll just stop feeding your family. You don't think about what you're becoming. You're 11. You think about the 50 pesos in your hand. That's where it starts. Not with a gun. Not with a choice. With a phone. And a corner. And a hunger that someone else decided to solve for you. A phone. 50 pesos a day. A sense of importance you've never had before. You are now a resource. You just don't know the word for it yet. They call this role the Halcóncito, the little hawk. Your job is to watch, nothing more. You don't touch the product. You don't carry anything. You don't know anyone's name above. You only know a number, and what the number means. The system is designed this way on purpose. If you're caught, you know nothing. You're a child with a phone. But the system already knows you. It has already decided what you're worth. Not much, but more than zero. That's the first truth they teach you without teaching you. You are replaceable. But right now, you are needed. A week passes, then a month. You learn the rhythms. You know the trucks. You know the cars. You know which vendors on the street work for the organization and which ones are just selling fruit. You start to feel like you understand something the rest of the town doesn't. That feeling is the real hook, not the 50 pesos. The feeling, your first real payment. Real money. More than your father earns in 2 weeks. You have now been seen. The organization knows your face. You can no longer pretend you were just watching. You're 14 now. The man who recruited you, the one you've only ever seen twice, tells you they have a new position. You'll be a runner. A burrero, they sometimes call it. A mule. You'll carry small packages. You won't know what's inside. You won't ask. You'll be told a street, a time, a car color, and a phrase. You deliver the package. You say the phrase. You walk away. That's it. The pay is 3 times what you made watching corners. You say yes before they finish the sentence. This is your first real mistake. Not because running packages is the worst thing you'll ever do, but because the moment you say yes, you stop being someone they recruit. You become someone they own. Cash, status within the crew, the knowledge of how product moves. Every delivery is a felony. Every day is a roll of the dice with your freedom. The first run goes perfectly. You do exactly what they said. You don't look at anyone too long. You don't check the package. You say the phrase. You walk back the way you came, and by the time you get home, your hands have stopped shaking. The second run goes perfectly. And the third. By the 10th run, your hands don't shake at all. You've stopped thinking of the backpack as dangerous. You've started thinking of it as a job. That's the system working on you. Not with threats, with repetition. You start to see the shape of what you're part of. The runners form a loose web across the city. Nobody knows each other's names, but you start to recognize faces. A nod here, a glance there. An entire economy functioning underground, beneath the surface of everything normal people see. But you also start to see the ones who disappear. 1 week, a runner you've crossed paths with a dozen times just isn't there anymore. No funeral. No explanation. You ask someone adjacent to your chain, and they look at you the way people look at someone who asked something stupid. You stop asking. You already know the answer. You are now eyes for the operation. You have access to information that most members at your level will never have. You are responsible for the safety of people far more dangerous than you. If something goes wrong on your watch, the fault is yours. They move you up. Not because they like you, because you're consistent. You don't steal. You don't talk. You show up. In a system built on fear, reliability is rare. They've noticed. Now your job is surveillance. You're a Halcón now, a hawk. You cover a plaza, a neighborhood, a corridor. You have a small team of younger boys beneath you. Boys like you were. You brief them in the morning. You collect their reports. You relay intelligence up the chain. If the army moves, you know before the army knows it's moving. If a rival crew is pushing into your territory, you see it first. You are, for the first time, part of the information layer. And information in this system is the most powerful thing there is. But here's what they don't tell you when they hand you the radio. You are now responsible for outcomes. Before, if a delivery went wrong, you were a small cog. Now, if your surveillance fails, if a shipment gets seized because you missed a patrol route, if an encargado gets arrested because you missed a tail, there is a conversation. And you do not want to be in that conversation. You've been doing this for 3 years. You're 17 years old, and you have a team, a territory, and a phone that rings at 4 in the morning. There is a moment. Every person in this system has it, whether they admit it or not. When you look at your life and realize you cannot see an exit, not because no exits exist, but because every exit has a cost you're not sure you can pay. Going to the police means becoming an informant. That ends one of 2 ways, and neither way ends quietly. Leaving the city means leaving your family, and the organization has a long memory for people who walk away without permission. So you stay. And staying at this point means moving forward. Because in this system, standing still is its own form of dying. Authority over a neighborhood or a sector. A salary, not just a payment. The respect or the fear of everyone below you. You are now a target, not just for the law, for rivals, for your own organization if you underperform, for anyone ambitious enough to want your position. The encargado runs a local cell. You control the halcons, the runners, and the corner distribution in your assigned area. You collect weekly payments from the network. You resolve disputes, sometimes with words, sometimes with other arrangements. You report to the plaza boss. You never see anyone above him. Your life looks, from the outside, almost normal. You have a house. You have a car. You have money for your mother's medication, which is the thing you told yourself you were doing all of this for. Once, when the story you told yourself still needed to be sympathetic. But here is the reality of the encargado. You are a middle manager in a criminal enterprise, and middle managers in criminal enterprises carry an unusual burden. You are close enough to the top to know how the system functions. You are close enough to the bottom to be blamed when it fails. And you are exactly disposable enough that neither the organization nor the state will mourn you for long. There is a man in your crew, you've known him since you were Halcóns together, who has started making his own decisions, moving product without reporting it, building his own small loyalty circle. You recognize what he's doing. You did it yourself once. Now you have to decide what to do about it. This is the test the organization runs on everyone who reaches your level. Not with a quiz, with a situation. You are now one of the few who knows the whole map. You have wealth, protection, and reach. You are fully inside. There is no outside anymore. Your world has shrunk to the size of the organization's trust. You survived the test. The man who was moving product quietly is no longer a problem. You didn't ask for details about where he went. You already knew. The plaza boss promotes you. You're now running a plaza of your own, a city, a corridor, a border crossing. You have wealth now that you cannot fully spend without drawing attention. Your phone never stops. You have people managing people who manage other people. You don't see the product anymore. You see spreadsheets. You see route changes. You see the economic logic of an industry that moves more money than the GDP of several small nations. There's a version of this life that, seen from the outside, looks like power. And it is power. That part isn't an illusion. But here is what power looks like from the inside at this level. You haven't slept a full night in 3 years. You have 2 phones, each registered to a name you've never used. You do not tell your family where you live. You have moved 4 times this year. When you drive, you take different routes. Every day. Without exception. You trust 3 people. 3. In an organization of hundreds. The jefe, the man at the top, whose name you know, but whose face you have seen only twice, communicates through intermediaries. He has never called you directly. If he ever does, you will know the conversation is the last one. You are powerful in the way that a nerve ending is powerful. You feel everything. And anything that goes wrong flows directly through you. You know how to read everything. You have survived long enough to understand the system completely. You cannot stop reading everything. You have become the paranoia. It lives in you now, permanently. You start to hear things. The federales have a new informant inside one of the adjacent plazas. A rival organization has been negotiating with someone you trust. One of your own encargados was seen near a government building on a day he had no reason to be there. None of these things are confirmed. But in this world, confirmed comes after dead. So you act on rumor, and acting on rumor changes you in ways that are hard to describe from the outside. You stop being able to have a meal without sitting with your back to the wall. You stop being able to look at a stranger on the street without assigning them a role. Police, rival, fed, innocent. You run the calculation automatically now. You can't turn it off. Your closest lieutenant, the man you trust most, number 2 of your 3, mentions once that you seem tired. You don't sleep that night. Not because of what he said, because you spent 4 hours turning the sentence over, looking for what it might actually mean. This is what the system takes at this level. Not your time, not your freedom. Those were taken a long time ago. It takes the part of your mind that was capable of rest. Nothing. At this point, there is no gain left uncollected. Everything. At once, it comes on a Thursday. It's always a Thursday or a Tuesday, never a Monday. The organization told you once that law enforcement prefers the middle of the week. It gives them time before the weekend to process the paperwork. You filed that away and never did anything with it. Thursday. The door comes down at 5:42 in the morning. You know the time because you were already awake. You don't run. You've planned for this too many times to run. You know what running costs, and you know that at your level, the extradition papers are already filled out somewhere in a federal building. You're taken to a facility you've heard about, but never seen. The first thing they do is take your phones. And here is the strange thing, the thing that will stay with you in the years that follow. The first emotion you feel in that room, with your phones gone and your hands cuffed to a chair, is something close to relief. Not because you're glad it's over, but because the paranoia stops. Instantly. Completely. You no longer have to watch the door. The door is already open. The thing you were waiting for has arrived. And there is, in that, a terrible kind of peace, reflection, replacement, continuity. The organization doesn't mourn you. Within 72 hours, your plaza has a new encargado. Within a week, your routes are running again. Within a month, your name is used only in past tense, and only when it's necessary. This is the deepest truth the system contains. It was never about you. You were never irreplaceable. No one is. The hierarchy exists independent of the people inside it. The product moves. The money moves. The lookouts stand on their corners. The runners carry their backpacks. Somewhere in the city you grew up in, there is a boy on a corner right now. He has a prepaid phone and a number he's been told to call. He was given 50 pesos. He's not thinking about what he's becoming. He's thinking about the 50 pesos. He doesn't know that he's already inside. He doesn't know that inside is where he'll stay. And somewhere in a document he will never see, his name has already been assigned a role. The system doesn't care what he becomes. It only cares that he stays.